We are back in Matthew 22. It says, "And the Pharisees went and plotted how to entangle Jesus in his words. And they set their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, 'Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God truthfully, and you do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances.'" So here we go again. The ones who like to bring up this question about the proper balance of Christian being involved in politics, they're rarely doing it for religious reasons. They're almost always doing it for political ones. They're trying to trip up so they can condemn the righteous ones. We don't have to look far to see this going on today. Secularists almost never address the actual arguments that are presented by Christians in the political sphere. Instead, they try to entangle them, trap them, so they can destroy them. Same as here. Further, we have Pharisees and Herodians, who should be natural enemies. They're united in a single cause, and that's to destroy Christ. You see, the Pharisees were the religious leaders of the time, so they're vehemently against Roman occupation. They despise the Romans. The Herodians, on the other hand, were totally Hellenized, which basically means they've adopted the whole Greek mannerisms. They're completely secular, and Herodians, they followed Herod, so they're collaborating with Rome. They're on Rome's side. So these should be natural-born enemies. It's no different than what we have. It's called intersectionality today. In our culture, we'll see the LGBTQ community totally locking arms with Muslims, despite the fact that if you look in the Wahhabi Muslim world, homosexuals are still hung, whipped, thrown off of buildings. They're executed for being homosexual. So logic would dictate that liberal Americans and those Muslims who follow Sharia law are complete and polar opposites. But instead of them fighting with each other, what we see is them united in a common cause, which is to fight Christianity and to wipe Christianity out of the United States. Why is it? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes sense if we go back to what we talked about before. You might have all these different philosophies, these different ideas on the earth, but you don't. You really have two. You have the kingdom of God and the city of man. You have really just two religions. There's a religion that follows the one and true God and his Messiah, and then the religion of the serpent. You belong to one or the other. That's why on the surface what seem like completely incompatible philosophies, they will always unite against the common enemy, which is Jesus Christ and his bride. We also see that their tactics don't change much, because people are ego-driven. They love to use flattery and compliments as a tool. Now, it used to make me laugh when I was at work, and people would try to kiss my butt to get ahead. Not only did it not work, it had the complete opposite effect. It just made me very suspicious and wary of the person and not trust the person because he's doing that with me. The world doesn't think like that, though. The world's very superficial. People love receiving flattery, even if it's false flattery. So people use it to lull people to sleep, so they can use them to their advantage. Now, it's funny that we try this with Jesus, because Jesus came out of heaven, where he was being worshipped 24/7 by the angelic host in a manner we can't even possibly imagine, and that he thinks that this little false flattery these guys give is going to somehow get to him. It's not really going to have an effect.